Hello everyone, I'm Novexo the Exile, a deported Mexican immigrant raised in the US, and I'm here to share my experience with racism while in an interracial relationship. So shortly before getting deported from the US, I shortly dated a white American woman by the name of Anna Marie Britell. I met her during the lowest point in my life, where I had just experienced numerous injustices, including a hate crime while I was homeless in the street. At the time, I was going through a terrible time in the US, where I had just relapsed on drugs after 10 years of sobriety, among several other negative things that happened to me, which contributed to me getting deported. I wrote a book where I talk about the struggles of undocumented immigrants in more details. If you're interested, please purchase my book once I have it published. So while I was living in the street, I was suffering from suicidal ideations, and eventually I returned home to my family's house for help while I was fighting an immigration case. I spent my last day in the U.S. at Anna Marie Britell's house, where we practiced a sex magic ritual. Anna was also someone who dressed alternative and had similar views as me despite being a white woman. However, she held lots of negative prejudices against me because I was an undocumented immigrant at the time of Make America Great Again and Donald Trump. This incident occurred 7 years ago, yet it had a long-lasting traumatic effect on me because of all the negative experiences that I had prior to getting deported. I never developed feelings of love for Anna, nor did I date her for very long because unfortunately things would go from bad to worse in that I would get deported while on my way to drop off her French beret and Gothic t-shirt. The night before I had gotten deported, Anna had snuck me into her home, yet because at the time I was under the influence of crystal meth, I was unable to perform sexually during our sex magic ritual. Also, Anna had told me that she was a virgin, so instead of actually having sex with her, I attempted to romance her and show her genuine actions of love and affection, given that some pagan spiritual practices are done in the nude but without sex. She wasn't impressed with that because she was only interested in the sex, so she decided to humiliate me, discriminate me on the basis of my race and gender, and even attempted to emasculate me. It was not a good experience for me. After Anna attempted to emasculate me for not having sex with her and telling me that I wasn't good in bed, I wanted to make it up to her, so I decided to steal her French beret, so as to impress her with my art skills and draw a portrait of her while she was wearing her French beret, given that she's a professional artist. However, she began complaining about her hat going missing, so I instead went to return it to her. When I did this, however, her sister's boyfriend, who happened to be a US-born Latino, pushed me into the street and called me a stupid homeless man due to my rugged punk rocker appearance, and attempted to pick a fight with me by literally kicking me while I was down. I did not want to fight with their sister's boyfriend who lived in their home, so I simply ran from him and decided to go return her belongings at her job, which was located in a rich white neighborhood where I was racially profiled and deported while on my way to drop off her French beret and goth t-shirt that I was wearing. During the time that I dated Anna, I never once disrespected her, mistreated her, discriminated her, nor wronged her. In the beginning, she even acted as if though she was the most progressive white person on earth, because even her sister was dating a Latino. But in the end, it was all a facade, for she and the people in her household were fake white allies and liberal racists. Anyhow, months after I was deported, she contacted me on Facebook just to tell me that I should be at a loss for words, because she had forgiven me for taking her stupid goth shirt and French beret, but that we could no longer be anything, and that perhaps I should just move to England, because England is also very welcoming to immigrants. I had faced numerous injustices in the U.S., was constantly discriminated against for having been a Mexican immigrant, was a victim of a hate crime, was deported while on my way to drop off her junk, and she expected me to be jumping for joy because she told me that she had forgiven me for taking her stupid hat and dumb shirt, and then later simply decided to cut me out of her life completely. I honestly don't know what she was thinking in telling me these things, but instead of that making me feel better, it only upset me even further, because prior to getting deported, I had spent less than 100 days in county jail, where I shared a cell with a white supremacist who even stood up for me and became friends with me. A full-blown neo-Nazi that was tattooed from head to toe with Nazi tattoos all over his body showed me more empathy and compassion than my white ex-girlfriend who couldn't even offer me her friendship and assumed that my only interest in her was going to be her great wealth. I have over 5K followers on social media. I know it's not a lot in comparison to others, but the majority of my followers are from the US. By that point, I was no longer living in the US. The very least she could have done was to offer me her friendship and show me support as a supposed white ally. But she didn't care at all what happened to me. And instead of apologizing for her racism and way that she had discriminated against me, she instead decided to hide behind her black friends. Now, I have nothing against black Americans, as I understand that many of them also face racism and intolerance, but when it comes to immigration, we face discrimination from literally everyone, including black Americans who, some of them also support right-wing fascism and anti-immigrant legislations. I wasn't a criminal, a drug lord, a gangbanger, nor any of the racist stereotypes Americans have of Mexican immigrants. I was simply someone going through a difficult time during Donald Trump's presidency, where I spent less than 100 days in county jail. Had the DREAM Act passed, which would have given immigrants raised in the U.S. a pathway to citizenship, many of the injustices that I faced would have never happened. But a very large number of American citizens do not want us in the U.S., and they did everything in their power so that we would not have anything, including passing racist ethnic cleansing laws where they could massively deport immigrants for even the most minor offenses. Because had I been a U.S. citizen, less than 100 days in county jail would have been seen as nothing more than a slap on the wrist. But as an undocumented immigrant, it was a kick to the face, where upon serving my time and paying my debt to society, I also faced the added oppression of banishment, family separation, and being forced to restart my life in a country where I did not grow up in, away from everything and everyone that I once knew. Needless to say, but it was a major setback in my life that has taken me many years to recover from, and it is why I am still talking about it today. Now, when it comes to white women, I know that not all white women are racist, and there are many amazingly wonderful white women out there that would have gone above and beyond for their immigrant boyfriend. Here in Mexico, there are many white women that upon their partner getting deported from the U.S., even followed them down here to live with them, got married to them, to help them return to the U.S., and so much more. My ex-girlfriend, however, was not a good person to me, nor did she show nor demonstrate even the slightest bit of concern for someone who claimed to be a white ally. I may have gotten deported many years ago, but that doesn't mean that racism or mass deportations have gone away. And when it comes to white women, not because they are women means that it is impossible for them to be racist, especially when they have a history of not only supporting white supremacy, participating in the oppression of non-white people, but also fully supporting right-wing fascism and the alt-right. Donald Trump won his presidency many years ago because white women that chose whiteness over their gender and were fully embracing anti-immigrant hatred and sentiment. Never forget that racist white women are not a thing of the past, and Karens are not going to go away anytime soon.